Hi, I'm Joanne Bourbon.
And I'm Suzanne Beck. We represent Dress a Girl Around the World in the San Francisco Bay Area, and we'd like to show you how we make a dress.
First, gather your supplies. You will need cotton fabric 42 to 44 inches wide. The length can be anything between 20 to 34 inches. Next, you'll need 2 elastic strips 1/2 inch wide and 7 inches long. Then you'll need 2 double wide bias tape strips, each 42 inches long. Complementary fabric for pockets should be of a similar weight. You will also need an iron, ironing board, scissors, sewing machine, and thread to match or complement your fabric.
This pattern, which is approximately 6 by 4.5, you can actually cut a square if you prefer. We like the look of the rounded ones. You want to cut it on the fold. So we're going to take the fabric till it fits the pocket on the fold. And then we actually like to cut 2 at the same time so that the pockets are exactly even. So we're going to make another fold. So you can see we've got 2 folds of fabric here. We're going to be cutting 2 pockets at the same time. So I'm going to cut these around here. When you sew your tube to make your dress, you want to make sure that you either serge the seam, or if you don't have a serger, you can also do a straight seam and then zigzag. We want to make sure that the seams are secure because the girls are active, and we want to make sure that their dress is not going to. We've sewn our tube, we've serged it on the back, and now what we're going to do is cut the armholes. The seam is in the back. We're going to cut our armholes at the same time. Here's our pattern for the armholes. We're going to make sure that this pattern is right on the fold so that we get a cut out of each side. And we've cut our armholes. Now we're ready to iron in our casing, and to do that we're going to iron down approximately 1.5 inches on both sides. And then we want to give ourselves a little 1/4 inch for the seam here. So there, our casing is done on that side. And then we turn it over. We want to do the same thing on the hem. Sometimes the hem can be serged, in which case you can fold up just a slight amount, but in other cases you're going to want to do your 1/4 inch up. Necessary to put a large hem in because the girls don't have any way of taking the hem down, even if they wanted to. And now our hem has been ironed in. So now we're ready to sew our casing. Make sure that you back stitch on all of the seams. So again, we want them to be very secure. So now we're going to put the elastic in, and I'm going to use a safety pin on the end of elastic, slide it into the casing that I've sewn. Just bunch it up, pull it through. Of course, I want to make sure that I don't pull it all the way through. And I usually stop right there and go ahead and secure it. Again, it's very important to secure this elastic so that it doesn't pull all the way through. I'm going to finish pulling it through. And then secure it on this end as well. Stop. Now that we've finished both casings, elastic in the front and elastic in the back, we're going to put on our tie, which also binds the armhole here. We're going to see what the halfway point is, mark the halfway point, and then I'm going to put the halfway point just under what would be the arm. You're actually going to just lay the fabric in between the folds of the bias tape. And again, starting at that middle section, dress fabric enclosed tightly into the bias tape. When you get to the edge of the dress where you've put the elastic in, it's really important to backstitch a few times. Again, just to make sure that elastic is caught. Then you're going to continue sewing to the end of this bias tape. This is what becomes your strap. When you get close to the edge, you want to turn and go back and forth so that you're finishing off your raw edge of your strap. Of it, we started at the middle of the tape, so we're going to go back and we're going to do the other half. Again, making sure that we get the dress fabric enclosed tightly into the bias tape. Again, it's important when you get to that elastic area that you backstitch a couple of times. Finishing off the raw edge. And there you have it. Your first strap is finished. Okay. Now we're ready to put our pockets on the front of the dress. Notice that we're using the front. There's no seam here. The seam is in the back, so make sure that you put the pockets on the front side of the dress. Notice I put a little button on them just for a little embellishment. This is where your creativity comes in. You could put lace or trim, buttons, whatever on these pockets. So we're going to pin these into position. When you're placing them, you want to just kind of think about a little bit below what would be the little girl's waist. So now our pockets are pinned on. I like to zigzag the pockets to make sure that all of the fabric is caught in. So I've set my machine to zigzag. And now I'm just going to start at the top. Again, you want to make sure that you backstitch at the top. When you think about putting your hands in the pockets, this is the place where the pocket could pull away, and we don't want to have that happen to the little girls. We're zigzagging carefully around the pocket. And there's our first pocket. And here's our finished dress.